Okay, welcome to the channel. We are going to talk about the Elite FTS 2x2 power rack. Now this does come with a bench quite often, or at least that's how it's set up on their website. Most likely if you already have a bench, you could probably just ask them to purchase the 2x2 rack. So now the 2x2 rack is 7 foot tall, but that's actually only going up to the top of the post. That's not counting this little piece for putting your band pegs on, which makes it just over 7 feet tall. It's part of the reason why I went with this one is because, well, this is actually 8 foot tall in the garage, but originally we had it in our basement, which also had an 8 foot ceiling. Since this is 7 foot, means I can go ahead and use the pull-up bar and not have to worry about hitting my head. There are other racks that are around this height that you can just order, but they don't necessarily come with the same features. You can get a taller rack cut, but that costs more money. So that's kind of why we went with this one, because it's 7 feet tall and it has the features I like. So I wanted to do training with bands, so that's why I have all the bands back there. And it comes pre-drilled, and it comes with 4 of these. So you can loop your bands around these, and then you can also put them up at the top as well. So one's to add tension, one's to reduce tension. It comes with your standard pull-up bar. It's actually a little bit nicer than some of your cheaper power racks in that it does have a little bit of rubber on the ends. And I go ahead and use this as well. There is no knurling here or here. Just no knurling at all, actually. But this powder coat, and it's just like these on here, it's actually got quite a bit of texture. So this actually has quite a bit of grip to it. So I actually don't really have issues with grip on it. And then the other reason why I like this power rack is that it does have this little hole spacing in here. This is mainly for bench, but I also just like it because then it also just allows me to adjust the safeties a lot better for when I'm doing squats by myself as well. So I can set that up at basically just the right height, so I don't have to worry about dropping the bar any sort of long distance. And then for benching, it's really nice in that you can just really dial it into where you want. I had a power rack originally that just kind of had your standard hole spacing, and it was kind of hit or miss. One was either too low, and then the other one was just a tad bit high for me. It just happened to work out that way. Now these JHooks, I don't mind them, but I know a lot of people aren't going to necessarily like that they don't have any sort of protection on here. So as you can see, like this powder coating is actually pretty tough, because I have had this power rack for over a year, and as you can see, I'm just barely rubbing through some of the powder coat in certain spots. And as far as my bar goes, my bar seems to be holding up just fine as well. But I have actually purchased some spud inks. Well, I should have looked at what these were called, but basically they are for these kind of JHooks, and then you can put your bar in here, and you're not going to have to worry about your bar getting torn up or the JHooks losing their paint. But I've had these for a little while, and they are holding up quite well, just like advertised. So if you do have metal ones, you don't necessarily have to go and find yourself actual different J-cups. Like, you can always get these from Spud Ink, and they will, fix that for the bar. As you can also see, there is weight storage back here. So this actual cage is welded, not bolted together. So this little part, you have to move around all at once. Like I said, we were able to get this into the basement. It really just kind of depends on your situation, but it should, if you can get a power rack down there, you should be able to get one of these down there. Because then this section is actually just, this is what's bolted on. And then you do have, once again, your little weight horns. And these are, once again, these are just powder coated, which I know some people are not gonna like. I'm fine with it. As you can see, they hold plenty of weight, unlike some of your cheaper racks. Like if you look at it, I couldn't tell from their website if they meant 300 pounds per horn or 300 pounds altogether. If it's 300 pounds altogether, that's not a whole lot of weight. But if they actually meant 300 pounds per horn, then it's fine. It's connected with the back piece. Back piece doubles with band storage. Their picture has this flipped the other way. I just find it more convenient to have it this way. So I put it this way. We got a great spot here for, you can either loop bands around, or I have Spud Ink, also just their little, kind of like their cable attachment, so I can hook that up here and then I can have it in the back. So pretty much just leave that there and still have nothing in the middle of this rack. And then of course your pull-up bar is kind of actually in the middle versus at the front where a lot of them put that. It doesn't make a lot of difference to me, but like to me that's fine. The power rack itself is fairly stable. I don't have this bolted down, and I just have the weight on it. So for a 2x2 rack, it seems pretty stable. It's more stable than the other one I had, and that it was just bolted together and didn't have a weight storage. A lot more solid than that. It's not as stable as I had a half rack that was like a heavy duty half rack that was made out of like 7-gauge steel, which probably weighs more than, well, it does. It would have weighed more than this full setup. So that was more stable, but it wasn't as versatile as this. It does have options for you to bolt it down in the front or the back. I'm just trying to decide if this is really going to be kind of the final resting place for this power rack before I bolt anything down. I didn't mention yet, but it does come with pipe safeties. And it does come with 2. So this is standard. Like you get 4 JHooks, you get 4 safeties, which with a lot of power racks, you're gonna have to buy an extra set of JHooks, an extra pair of safeties. But that's pretty much it. It comes in multiple colors. I went with purple, but they have kind of just your primary colors. They have black, they have white, they have yellow, orange, blue. So they have multiple different colors. The shipping was fine when we got it. We arrived on a really big pallet with some other things that we ordered from them. And other than that, that's basically the 2x2 rack. Oh, I guess a couple other little things is, so all their bolts did come with washers. Once again, that's a little thing, but some of your cheap power racks, they don't actually come with washers, and so you have to go buy your own washers. You don't necessarily have to, but that was kind of one of the complaints, was when somebody was like, well, they didn't have washers, and as soon as I started tightening the bolts down, the metal started to bend. But these come with washers. This is their little backing plate that they talk about on their website, is that they have this right here to make this part extra thick for when you put the pull-up bar on. And that's kind of the only location that... So Power Rack does also come with dip attachments. These dip attachments are powder coated. There is nothing here, so it would have been nice if they kind of put whatever rubber they have on their pull-up bar. It's had a little bit of sponginess. Just if they put that on here, it would have been a little more comfortable, but that's okay. The kind of the issue with their dip attachments, at least the ones I received, if you go look at their website, like this looks completely different. And it almost seems like it was the one that they had for their 3x3 rack, in that the actual attachment is bigger than the holes. So just a little bit, like it looks like it wants to go in there, but it's just a little bit too big. So I actually drilled out one of the holes so I could get this in here. And then of course when I put it in, there's actually a big gap. So it looks like this was meant for their 3x3 rack. They probably just had these in stock. I did order these when the craziness with everything was going on. So it could have just been a shipping issue. I didn't let them know. I didn't say anything. I went ahead and just took it. Like I said, I just drilled out that hole. It wasn't a big enough deal to me to deal with trying to get these back to them or have them send me a new pair. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. About the only other thing that I wish the rack had was some sort of mark for the holes, so you're just not counting them each and every single time. It's not that big of a deal, at least for me. It just would make things a little bit easier, especially through here, like every 5th hole was marked or something. But basically we just count and then move the cups to where they need to be, and then we just have the hole number written down for where we need the J cups for different either bars or different people and things like that. But if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below and I'll try to answer them. I'm not representative by them or anything like that. I just like their Power Rack, and I don't really see a whole lot of people talking about their Power Racks. Yeah, they make quick ship options that are right around 8 feet, which is why I didn't go with them, because I do have this on a little platform, so it's a couple inches higher. And those are actually cheaper, but they don't have the color options. They have all sorts of different Power Racks, and then they do custom orders as well. But I just went with their 2x2 because I could get custom color. It fit, it works, and I really enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.